House of Representatives convenes itself to tackle a bill that would declare a national emergency and grant President Rodrigo Duterte emergency powers to address the coronavirus outbreak. House Bill number 6616 can now be taken up by the plenary. Executive Secretary Salvador Medialdea defends Duterte's request to be granted powers to temporarily take over the operations of private business. He says it is only meant to be a standby power.
The power to take over is intended merely as a standby power in the event the crisis reaches its worst. When our most critical institutions are nearing a total shutdown and government is left with no choice but to take over these establishments.
Duterte wants Congress to allow him to reprogram 275 billion pesos worth of public funds for the outbreak without providing lawmakers a list of the things or services that need allocation. Of that amount, a lump sum of 200 billion pesos would go to the emergency subsidy program, while another 75 billion pesos would be allotted for health services like purchasing COVID-19 test kits, protective gear for health workers, and equipping quarantine centers across the nation. But Deputy Speaker El Rey Villafuerte could not provide any number of testing kits, protective gear, and others to justify that allocation. Meanwhile, in the Senate President Tito Soto files a version of the measure that would grant Duterte 19 special powers. The Senate version of the bill allows directing of operations any private hospitals and health facilities. Online, Filipinos reject Duterte's bid for emergency powers as a solution to the outbreak. As Congress deliberates Monday, the hashtag No to Emergency Powers trends on Twitter in the Philippines, reaching over 21,200 tweets as of early Monday afternoon. Several point out emergency powers aren't needed since Duterte has not even made full use of the powers and resources currently at his disposal. Some also urge Duterte to focus on empowering local government units to help address needs on the ground, instead of requesting for emergency powers. On Twitter, Janzine Paul Gonzalez says, quote, LGUs with their limited power have done more and outperformed the national government. Filipinos also fume online after several lawmakers and cabinet secretaries compare themselves to overworked health professionals on the front lines of the pandemic. Politicians at the Batasang Pambansa stand up and face the cameras holding up manila papers that read, "Together with doctors and frontliners, we want to work for you. So please stay at home for us." Poet and actor Juan Miguel Severo tweets, "The nerve. Are you even on their level?" The gimmick also triggers memes mocking the officials. The Department of Health confirms 82 new coronavirus cases, bringing to 462 the total number of cases in the Philippines as of Monday, March 23. This is the biggest single-day increase so far. Health Undersecretary Rosario Vergeire also confirms the death toll reaches 33, with 8 new deaths recorded. But the number of recoveries also increased to 18. Among those who died over the weekend was University of the Philippines professor Eileen Baviera, one of the leading experts on China studies in the Philippines. Baviera died Saturday, March 21. Career diplomat Alan Ortiz dies in Paris early Monday morning, March 23. Ortiz was the Philippine Council for Foreign Relations president. Meanwhile, data curated by Our World in Data shows the Philippines lags behind other countries in terms of tests conducted. South Korea, which is among the first countries hit by COVID-19 outside China, conducted the most number of tests. As of March 20, it did 316,664 tests for infection. The Philippines, for the same period, recorded only 1,269 tests. Experts say this contributes to a deflated reporting of cases in the Philippines. This shows the Philippines has been conducting only around 12 tests for every million people. Interior Undersecretary Martin Diño claims human rights and the privilege of the writ of habeas corpus is suspended under a state of public health emergency. In a radio interview Saturday, March 21, Diño says there are, quote, no more rights as Luzon is on lockdown. The writ of habeas corpus is a remedy for any person deprived of liberty. It is issued by the court requiring a public official to explain the reason for a person's detention. The 1987 Constitution allows the suspension of the privilege of the writ of habeas corpus if there is a proclamation of martial law. But President Rodrigo Duterte himself says it's not a martial law. And even under martial rule, the 1987 Constitution made sure that not all rights will disappear. The Commission on Human Rights, or CHR, reminds Diño that even the DILG's own memorandum guarantees human rights. And while the Department of Justice says warrantless arrests may be done for lockdown violators, the very law it cites protects the rights of people to liberty. Cabinet Secretary Karlo Nograles says supermarkets, drugstores, and similar establishments should not require customers to wear face masks. Nograles, also the spokesperson of the government's Interagency Task Force on Emerging Infectious Diseases, says establishments are only required to maintain physical distancing of at least 1 meter between customers.
Wala naman kaming inilabas na patakaran mula sa Interagency Task Force na kailangan pong magsuot ng mask bago pumasok sa mga supermarket. Ano po? Ang aming lamang patakaran, ang rules lang po natin ay magkaroon lamang ng social distancing sa mga supermarkets. So, ganun na lang po ang sundin natin.
The entire island of Luzon and many other areas of the Philippines are on lockdown or enhanced community quarantine to slow down the spread of the novel coronavirus. People are urged to stay home as much as possible, with only one person per household authorized to step out and buy food and supplies. Disgraced Hollywood mogul Harvey Weinstein tests positive for the novel coronavirus. The 68-year-old Weinstein is in prison in northern New York State after being sentenced to 23 years in jail for rape and sexual assault. Weinstein was transferred Wednesday to a prison near Buffalo, northwest of New York City. Prior to his transfer, he stayed at Rikers Island Prison. Crowded U.S. prisons have the potential to become hotbeds for coronavirus infections. Guards at Rikers tested positive for the virus last week. Meantime, actor Tom Hanks says he and wife Rita Wilson are feeling much better after 2 weeks in hospital and self-isolation with the coronavirus. In a tweet, Hanks says, quote, "Hey folks, 2 weeks after our first symptoms and we feel better." Meanwhile, former NBA guard Jeremy Lin hits US President Donald Trump for empowering racism by calling the virus a Chinese virus. Trump has repeatedly referred to COVID-19 as the Chinese virus. In a tweet, Lin says, "Wish you would powerfully support the vulnerable people that will suffer due to our mismanagement of the virus, including those that will be affected by the racism you're empowering." When Trump defenders swarm him online, Lin responds, saying, quote, "Can you honestly tell me there is zero anti-Chinese sentiment in all his characterizations of the virus?" Lin is the first American of Chinese or Taiwanese descent to play in the NBA.